Hello everyone, and welcome back. It's great to have you here. In our previous sessions, we've been the strategists. We've operated at 30,000 feet, asking the big, why questions. We've learned why we use tech to win, how we make big decisions, how to assess risks, and how to get our ideas approved. Today, we change roles. We move from the architect's office to the construction site. We're putting on our hard hats, because today is all about the craft of building. Our focus is K5, a range of digital technology solution development techniques and tools. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's about how we actually create the technology that powers the business. My objective for you today is to demystify this world. We're going to explore the different recipes or techniques that teams use to organize their work and the essential ingredients and utensils or tools they use to do it. This is how ideas become reality. Before we dive into the details, it is absolutely critical that we understand the two distinct parts of this knowledge statement. Using my scaffold and ascend method, let's get this clear from the start. First, we have techniques. You'll also hear these called methodologies. A technique is simply the way we decide to work. It's our team's philosophy, our recipe, our game plan. It answers the question, how are we going to organize ourselves to get this project done? Second, we have tools. These are the specific things we use to do the work. The software, the platforms, the applications. If the technique is the game plan, the tools are the football and the whistle. I love the analogy of building a house. The architectural blueprint, the project plan, the decision to build the foundation first and then the walls, that's the technique. The cement mixer, the power saw, the scaffolding, those are the tools. You can have the best tools in the world, but without a good plan, you'll build a mess. And you can have the best plan in the world, but without the right tools, you can't build anything. You need both. Let's start by looking at the classic technique, the one that dominated software development for decades, the waterfall model. It's called waterfall because, just like a real waterfall, the process flows in one direction, downwards. It's a very linear and sequential approach. You have to complete each stage in full before you can even begin the next one. First, you spend months gathering all the requirements. Then, you move to the design phase. Only then do you move to implementation, where the developers write all the code. After that, you move to testing, and finally, you deploy the finished product. The great thing about Waterfall is that it's very structured and feels predictable, which appeals to methodical learners like Tom. It's easy to understand and manage. The big problem, it's incredibly rigid. What happens if, during the testing phase, you realize you misunderstood a requirement from 6 months ago? You have to go all the way back to the top. In a fast-moving world, this is a major weakness. Because the waterfall model was so rigid, the industry needed a new way of thinking. That new way is called Agile. Now, this is important. Agile isn't one specific technique, it's a philosophy, a mindset. The core idea of Agile is that we accept the world is complex and unpredictable. Instead of trying to plan everything perfectly up front, we build our software in small, incremental pieces. We build a small, working part of the product, show it to the customer, get their feedback, make adjustments, and then build the next small piece. It's all about collaboration, flexibility, and responding to change. If the customer changes their mind, that's not a disaster, it's a valuable learning opportunity. My favorite analogy is painting a portrait. An agile painter sketches the whole outline first. Then they add a layer of color to the face, a bit to the background, a bit to the suit. They constantly step back, look at the whole picture, and make small adjustments. This iterative, feedback-driven approach is the heart of Agile. So, if Agile is the philosophy, how do we actually do it? The most popular technique is called Scrum. In Scrum, all work is broken down into short, time-boxed cycles called sprints. A sprint is usually 2 weeks long. The team has a master to-do list for the entire project, which is called the product backlog. At the start of each sprint, the team gets together and pulls a small chunk of work from the top of the backlog. This becomes the goal for the next 2 weeks. Every day during the sprint, the team has a quick 15-minute meeting called the daily Scrum to check in, see who needs help, and make sure they're on track. At the end of the 2 weeks, the goal is to have a finished, working, and tested piece of the product to show to the business. You demonstrate it, get feedback, and then you start the next sprint. Another very popular Agile technique is Kanban. If Scrum is about working in time sprints, Kanban is all about visualizing your workflow and making it smooth and continuous. The heart of Kanban is the Kanban board. In its simplest form, this is a board with 3 columns, to do, in progress, and done. Every task is written on a card. When you decide to start a task, you move its card from to do to in progress. When it's finished, you move it to done. It seems simple, but there's one magic rule that makes it powerful. You must limit your work in progress, or WIP. This means you set a strict limit on how many cards can be in the "in progress" column at once. This simple rule is brilliant. It prevents teams from getting overwhelmed by starting 10 things and finishing none. It forces you to focus on finishing work, which is what delivers value. It's like a well-run kitchen. The head chef doesn't let the cooks start 20 different meals at once. They focus on getting the current orders out the door. Okay, so we've seen the techniques, the game plans. Now, let's look at the tools we use to execute those plans. A modern technology team relies on a whole ecosystem of software to work effectively. For planning and tracking, we use tools like Jira or Trello. These are essentially our digital Scrum and Kanban boards, where we manage all our tasks. For version control, the standard is a tool called Git, often used with a platform like GitHub. This is a lifesaver. It's like a super-powered track changes for code, letting a whole team work on the same code at the same time without overwriting each other's work. For instant communication, we use tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams. These are our virtual offices where we can ask quick questions and share information. For the actual development, we use powerful code editors called IDEs, like Visual Studio Code. And finally, to make our releases fast and reliable, we use automation tools like Jenkins to automatically build, test, and deploy our code whenever a change is made. This whole process is often called CI/CD, which stands for Continuous Integration and Continuous Deployment. So, why is it so important for all of you to learn this range of techniques and tools? Because it directly impacts your effectiveness and your value to an employer. Chloe, as a future software engineer, think of yourself as a master craftsperson. A craftsperson is defined by their skill with their tools. Mastering tools like Git and being an expert contributor in a Scrum team is what separates a junior developer from a senior one. Tom, as a business analyst, you don't just observe these techniques, you are a key player within them. You are the one who refines the product backlog and writes the user stories that the team works on in each sprint. Ben, as a future data analyst, the beauty of these techniques is the structure and clarity they provide. A well-run Kanban board is the opposite of ambiguity. It's a clear, visual system that tells you exactly what needs to be done. Aisha, for you as a future IT consultant, this knowledge is your currency. Your clients will look to you for advice. Being able to analyze their situation and give them a confident, well-reasoned answer is what makes you a strategic advisor. And for Liam and Maya, our infrastructure and security specialists, you are the ones who make these fast-paced techniques possible. A team can't deploy code multiple times a day without a robust, automated network. And in the modern world of DevSecOps, security testing can't be an afterthought, it has to be built into the sprint itself. Okay, let's get practical. You can start gathering fantastic portfolio evidence about K5 just by being a curious observer in your own workplace. Here are 3 simple actions for you. First, identify the technique. Next time you have a one-to-one with your manager, ask them this simple question. For my apprenticeship, I'm learning about different ways of working. What development technique or methodology would you say our team follows? See if they use words like Waterfall, Agile, Scrum, or Kanban. Second, identify the tools. Over the next week, just pay attention to the software your team uses constantly. What's always open on their screens? Make a list of the top 3 to 5 tools and, for each one, write a single sentence describing its purpose in your own words. Third, observe a ceremony. If your team has a daily stand-up meeting, you have a perfect opportunity. You don't need to say anything, just listen. Notice the pattern. People will usually answer 3 questions. What did I do yesterday? What am I working on today? And is anything blocking my progress? Afterwards, write a short reflection in your log about why you think the team holds that meeting. This is brilliant evidence. Let's do a quick recap of what we've covered. Today, we've unpacked K5 and seen that building great technology requires 2 things, the right technique, or way of working, like Agile, Scrum, and Kanban, and the right tools, like Jira and Git, to support that technique. We've learned that moving from rigid waterfall methods to flexible Agile philosophies has transformed how modern teams work, and that this impacts every single role in the technology ecosystem. Your mission this week is simple. Just choose one of the practical actions from the previous slide. Start looking at your own team's work with these new eyes. Try to spot the technique and identify the tools. In our next session, we'll take this knowledge and apply it more broadly as we tackle K6, the approaches and techniques used throughout the digital and technology solution lifecycle. We'll see how these concepts fit into the bigger picture. Thank you for your fantastic engagement today. Well done.